Ladies, if you just bear with us for a moment, there's a couple of states that are required for the early papers that don't appear to be here yet, so we'll just give them another minute or two if you just bear with us. Appreciate your patience. Thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this final meeting of the Technical Commission for the 39th Assembly, which is now open. The order of business for today, if you look at the appropriate bulletin from the Secretariat, first up we have one remaining paragraph in Agenda item 35 to deal with. That was working paper 476, and then we'll move on to agenda items 36 and 37 and hopefully complete those in good time for lunchtime. Excuse me, I should bring to your attention that it has been raised with the Secretariat that the confusion over numbering on agenda item 33 has caused some, or potentially did cause some difficulty to some states. So if you recall yesterday on the report back in the English version for agenda item 33, from page 3 at para 33:16, there was a discrepancy between the hard copy numbering and the numbering on the web-based resource, so that if any state was confused or disadvantaged by that numbering system, I will give the opportunity when we finish the agenda item 37 to go back and look at those that report back on those paragraphs where the numbering was different on the different copies. Before I go on, I'll just pass to the Secretary, who has a couple of comments to make.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to note on behalf of the Secretariat that we do appreciate that the reports for this morning arrived on the website very late. We apologize for that, but we also hope that you'll forgive that, noting the large volume of paper that is having to work through translation. We have a shift that works all night to produce these reports, and they're doing the best they can with all the various commissions and reports that have been coming out. So I appreciate everybody's patience with that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Secretary. Okay, if we get underway with the first item, you'll recall that the Secretariat and China were going to do some work on a potential amendment to paragraph 3528 on agenda item 35. Now, I understand that work has been done, and that China is now in a position to provide a consolidated view of, or consolidated readback of that new proposed paragraph for your consideration. China, please, if you could read out for us the new and proposed 3528.
谢谢主席。关于35.28段。
With regard to paragraph 3528, we have one revision to propose, so I'm going to read in English for your easy understanding.
On the third line, the Commission recalled that at the word although standards existed in Annex 6, operation of aircraft for flight crew qualifications regarding route and aerodromes. Delete and, comma, consequently, comma, additional standards might not be necessary. Add, guidance materials should be developed for those flight operations, given their operational and risk assessment characteristics. And others is same. 谢谢主席。
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, China. Is everybody understand that full change now? If you wish, I can read out the complete paragraph, but if anybody wants me to do that, please indicate. My understanding is that the Secretariat is happy that the change reflects the content of the paper and the agreement of the meeting, and certainly that is my view as well. So unless there's any requirement for further explanation, we will move on. Everybody happy? Okay, we'll record that. Thank you, China. We'll record that as an accurate part of the agenda item 35 and what was the resolution of the Commission. Okay, we'll now move on to working paper 477, agenda item 36. Now, if you turn to, in the English version, page 1, paragraphs 36.1 to 36.5. Any comments? United States.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. We have a proposed change or addition to paragraph 36.4. In that paragraph, after the second sentence, which would be the fifth line down of the paragraph, we would like to request the addition of the sentence, "The Commission also noted a suggestion by the United States that in light of the information presented, a reassessment of the charting specification was warranted." And then as reads. Thank you.
Any further comment before we move on 36.4? In particular, that from my perspective was an accurate reflection of what occurred at the meeting. It was a note from the United States. So unless we get any contrary views, that amendment will be made. Japan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning all. I'm sorry, we have a comment on paragraph 36.3, so nothing comment to the view from US. Thank you.
No, go ahead with the 36.3 then.
Okay. So paragraph 36.3, the paper regarding working paper 277 presented by Japan. We understand that the Commission agree on the actions described in the working paper, and this report only describes the action, one of the actions, especially action C of working paper 277. However, we understand that the action B of described in working paper 277, such as exchange information on upper age limit of commercial pilots and the health management system of each airline, etc., also have been supported by the Commission. At that time, to save the time for the further discussion, we hesitated to clarify for the agreement. But however, we understand that the majority agree on this action. Thank you very much.
Japan, would you like to suggest, have you drafted possible text for insertion in the report back?
All right. Basically, we prefer the similar language which is described in the working paper itself, working paper 277. So I would like to ask Secretariat to use these phrases to fit into this report. So thank you very much.
One that's missing.
I'll just ask the Secretariat to provide those words for the benefit of the meeting.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, everyone. If Japan allows the Secretary to propose some words that will cover the request, it would read to include on the last sentence, I mean after the final of the last sentence, of course, the Commission also encourages states to exchange information on upper age limit of commercial pilots in the health management system. If this is acceptable by Joe. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
My recollection of the meeting was that it did support the resolution in the paper, and so Japan's intervention is correct, and I think that should be reflected in the report back. No objection? Okay, we'll go ahead and make that amendment as per the paper. Thank you, Japan. Finland, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In relation to paragraph 36.1 and as raised during the discussion in the Technical Commission, the 44 ECAC states would like to have the report slightly amended to better reflect the discussion as regards the need for improved and more detailed impact assessments. Therefore, the ECAC states would like to suggest to add an amendment in the last sentence to reflect this. The last sentence would read, "The Commission recognized the value of robust impact assessments and implementation task list and agreed that subject to appropriate prioritization, the ICAO Council should ensure they are improved and more detailed and continue to be utilized into the next triennium and ensure their continued efficiency through periodic review." Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Finland. Once again, that accurately reflects the paper and the conclusions of the Commission from my perspective, so unless there's any concerted and strong opposition, we'll make that amendment. Anything else on page 1? Okay, so we're talking still 47.7, working paper 47.7, and we're now on page 2 in the English version. Paragraphs 36.6 to 36.10. Any comments? International organisations, if you can identify yourself when you speak, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of the Civil Air Navigation Services Organisation, CANSO, I would like you to consider an amendment of the text of 36.7 regarding conflict zones. During the Commission session, there was a lot of support from several states, including among others Finland, representing the 44 states of ECAC, New Zealand, Romania, Peru, Colombia and Chile, which showed the importance they felt for this paper. I would like to ask you if it's possible to add all the actions stated in the working paper to the report to show the support by Member States on the issue on just culture. It would then read at the end, after supported the actions in the paper, it would read encouraging states to review national legislation, and then all the 5-point action points stated in the paper. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Kenzo. So you're talking about 36.7, which refers to the just culture principles. You mentioned conflict zones. You were in fact talking about just culture?
Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, just culture. Thank you very much.
Okay, can we run back over the specific wording proposed again so that the Secretariat can capture it, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At the end of the sentence, at the moment it's stating and supported the actions in the paper. And we would add then, comma, encouraging states to review national legislation framework to rule out any differences with ICAO annexes and legal guidance as far as reasonable possible with respect to adopting a just culture. Urge their aviation organizations to develop a just culture policy statement as part of a strong safety culture, and invite their aviation organizations to support and implement their just culture program by means of written procedures. Develop a just culture policy statement as a fundament for a strong safety culture. Establish a means by which staff may voluntarily and confidentially report safety concerns without fear of reprisal, and adopt and document just culture procedures, including how human performance variability will be interpreted. And those are the exact points in the working paper 193.
Thank you, Kenzo. If you just bear with us for a moment. Kenzo, I guess the discussion up here is centred on the fact that essentially what you've asked for is to pull the list of actions out of working paper 193 and list them in the report back, whereas the current report back says that the Commission supported the actions in the paper. Thus, when this item goes to Council and the Secretariat, they will refer to the working paper itself and extract the actions from there and act on those. So I'm sort of loath to agree with your proposed recommendation, because what that would mean is that in real sense the report back would probably increase significantly in length if for every paper that the Commission had agreed to, we then listed out all of the actions. So I think unless there's any really strong support from the floor, my preference is to stick with what we've got rather than introduce a process of listing all of the actions from every paper, which essentially would be what would happen. Kenzo, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry to talk again. It was just that These three sentences at the moment doesn't really reflect the discussions and the full support of all those states that, but I would ask the states itself to report on this if they think it's enough. But thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Kenzo. And if anybody from the floor has a strong view on the issue, then certainly raise it as we proceed through this page. Canada, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May I ask for your indulgence to propose a quick change to paragraph 36.2?
Yes, you may. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In terms of the second sentence, after it reads, should support the approaches and efforts, it should be presented in this working paper as opposed to by ICAO. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Are you happy for outlined in this paper? Canada, sorry.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, fine. Let's get back to page 2. Australia, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Australia supports your disposition of the matter involving the CANSO paper, but it occurs to me that there were a series of papers that dealt one way or another with just culture principles and the Amendment 1 to Annex 19. And I noticed that in paragraph 36.5, which expressly dealt with the importance of adopting and adhering to Amendment 1 to Annex 19, that's in there. In 36.8, there is also a reference to fidelity to the recently adopted provisions. And although I recall hearing in the CANSO readout of the more fuller inclusion they referred to, a reference to that, it seems to me that as it's not captured in respect of all of those papers, then perhaps something in 36.7 should also include a recognition of the what I believe was the Commission's view, that whatever is accepted in the CANSO paper was subject to or in accordance with the recently adopted amendments to Annex 19. Because I do believe there are some proposals there that exceed it, which is a good thing, but it should not be considered a mandatory thing or more strongly stated than it was. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense, but perhaps turning it into some specific words might challenge us a little. Just wait one, I'll check with the Secretariat to see if they've captured the thrust of your intervention. Australia, if you could perhaps turn your mind to any addition you'd like to see in 36.7, and then we could perhaps come back to you soon, because it would help if we had some wording, and then before we leave this page we could perhaps do that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would only suggest that perhaps a short additional sentence at the end, or a comma after the word paper, and then just add consistent with the recently adopted amendments to Annex 19. I know that's repetitive, but it appears in the two other paragraphs that deals with those papers. So support of the actions of the paper in a manner consistent with the recently adopted amendments to Annex 19.
That seems reasonable. I just wonder whether it, well, no, it helps provide consistency between those various paragraphs you pointed out, certainly. Okay. Russian Federation, please.
Благодарю вас, господин.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Russian Federation is fully satisfactory with the text in 36.7. It's very happy with it, as it stands at the moment in the draft report on agenda item 36. I think it's very clear. It says quite clearly that the Commission did support the action in the executive summary. There's a reference to Working Paper 193. And if anyone wants to, and if anyone would like, once again, to look at what is contained in that working paper, they're free to do so. So I would propose that the text remains as it stands, unchanged. Thank you.
Thank you to the Russian Federation. Peru, please.
No, señor presidente, yo quería hablar sobre el...
No, I wanted to speak to 36.5. I have a comment on 36.5. May I proceed, or? I think it's necessary to include here some language, additional language, because even if it is true that the Commission did decide to amend Annex 1 on the right to know laws, I think the view was expressed in the room that what we have to make clear is that in the guidance material, somewhere in that guidance material, we make it clear that states should have the possibility to protect information not only through right to know laws, but specific laws, in the light of the fact that the right to know laws are not regulated in the standards nor the recommended practice, nor are they obligations within the framework of Annex 19. To that end, Peru thinks that the action by states is somewhat restricted. How are they to regulate right to know laws and protect information? If you think it's necessary, then we would suggest an amendment to the effect that other standards could replace the ones, replace right to know laws and information protection, so that when the audits take place, they qualify the various standards and recommended practice. They take place in the light of those standards and recommended practice. So how can we speak in favor of the fact that we are applying the right to know laws if there are no specific regulations governing them? Thank you.
Thank you, Peru. If I understand your comment in part, I wonder whether part of the problem for you is in the final line of that paragraph, the words "with respect to right to know laws," whether we broaden that somewhat so that that's not at all restrictive and simply refer to "with respect to other national legislation." I wonder if that would broaden the clause sufficiently to encompass the types of concern you're talking about. Comment, Peru?
Sí.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Yes, that we have laws other than the right to know laws. So my point is that we can use other legislation to protect information as long as it falls within the framework of mandatory standards. So that would work. Thank you.
Thank you, Peru. So what I would propose there, and I think it's entirely consistent with the discussion that we had as a commission at the time, if on the last few words of paragraph 36.5, we delete right to know laws and we add other national legislation. I don't think that changes it broadens the terminology, and I think it's consistent with the discussion we had at the time. Brazil, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My comment is about the 36.7. May I go?
Absolutely, please go ahead.
Okay. In this case, I fully support the Russian Federation points. The paragraph for Brazil is very nice. It's clear as we have here. Regarding the comment made by Australia, I think that all the comments that we have taken or decision here have to be consistent with annex, of course. So you don't need to repeat every time that you do this. So Brazil has the opinion that it's nice, clear as it is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Brazil. Dominican Republic, please.
Thank you, and good morning to everybody. I would like to support the comments made by Peru regarding the working paper 1110 and paragraph 36.5, because exactly the purpose of the working papers is to broaden the knowledge in regards of how are we going to apply the protection of safety information. So in my case, I concur with your proposal in order to broaden that last sentence. So it's not in particular for the right of no laws, but it could also incorporate any other type of legal procedures. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominican Republic. And Somalia, please.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. It's not Somalia, but South Africa.
Sorry about that.
Yes, I just want to talk about 36.5 with regard to the amendment you have just proposed. I'm just finding it hard to link that with the rest of the sentence. Because if we recommend ICAO to provide implementation support to states through the development of guidance material and regional laws, and then we say in particular, then we talked about national legislation. I'm not sure how then ICAO is going to be able to do that. Thank you.
Understand South Africa, very good point. And thank you for that. So I think what we're talking about there is with respect to integration with other national legislation, or perhaps alternatively with respect to other conflicting national legislation. I think that's probably that's certainly the intent, and it would refine it somewhat. So I think the preference would probably be with respect to integration with other national legislation. I think that would deal with the issue if others are happy with that. Thank you. International organisations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's Ayata speaking. My intervention is on 36.8, if you allow me. So there was support for working paper 117, and that paper was asking for actions and not only encouraging states. So I'd like to suggest a small change to the last sentence, which I read it first a bit quickly and then slow a second time. The sentence as modified would read: the Commission expressed its support for states and industry collaboration in developing SDCPS models that address service providers' concerns and adhere to the recently adopted, and then the rest as written. So it showed that there was an action in the working paper that was supported instead of just, the encouragement given to states. We think that better reflects in the discussion than the first of the paper. Thank you.
Could you please, I think it might just be me, but I think you missed the slow readout part of the insertion. It is early in the morning. Perhaps if you could give us just the insertion after, which I think comes in after collaboration.
Yes, indeed. Sorry about that. So after collaboration, insert in developing SDCPS models that address service provider concerns and adhere to the recently adopted, and then the rest stays like that. Was it slow enough?
Barely, but I think we've captured it.
Thank you.
I do note that that is actually repeating some of the text from above, so it's already captured in the content of the paper. But I guess it's marginal call, and we can repeat it here, albeit it adds to the length of the report back. But if states are happy with that insertion, it is consistent with what we did as a commission at the time, and that particular wording actually pretty much exists a few lines above on 36.8, but certainly I'd have no objection in terms of the adding it. Republic of Korea, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Recognizing the importance of the collaboration of state and industry to achieve safety data in information protection in Annex 19 Amendment 1, the Republic of Korea supports IATA, which proposes to clarify the meaning of last sentence in paragraph 36.8. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Republic of Korea. Chile, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do apologize, but I'm still not clear on the amendment to 36.5. In light of what was discussed in the meeting, and in light of the request by the LACAC, if the decision is not to amend Annex 19 in order to make the right to know laws obligatory implementation, then the guidance material will have to allow states under their sovereignty laws to use whatever law or legislation to achieve the results. So I'm afraid I didn't really understand, because it's not a question of integrating with other national legislation, but it's a question of applying any type of legal action. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just give me a moment on that one. I'll get back to you.
within national.
Thank you, Chile. We've just been looking for wording that will try and reflect the fact that states will have a range of laws, and different states will have different laws impacting on the ability of the state to fully implement the requirements of Annex 19. So that the requirements of Annex 19, when it comes to any form of audit against those implementation of those standards, and I think this is where the guidance material comes into effect, will always be limited or constrained by that other legislation. Now, certainly ICAO will attempt to promote changes to that other legislation to align with Annex 19, but that will or won't happen depending on the situation in different states. So I think what we are talking about is the creation of guidance material which is in particular to clarify the application of the provisions in the national legislation. So the wording we had here was really around the development of guidance material, and I'm reading now from the amended version of 36.5, development of guidance material and regional workshops in particular with respect to, so we did have integration with other legislation, and I guess we could add appropriate reconciliation with other legislation, but I think we're playing with words there to some degree, and really apart from recognising the fact that ICAO would like to shape that other legislation to comply with Annex 19, it's a fact of life that in many cases it won't. So it really comes down to working around the, trying to achieve the Annex 9 provisions within the constraints in different states formed by that legislation. And I don't see how we can change that wording to clarify that point much more. Chile?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do apologize for pursuing my point. Maybe it's a question of not making ourselves understood correctly. I think it's indisputable that we all agree that we have to comply with what is contained in Annex 19. The problem lies in the fact that Annex 19 only identifies one types of laws to comply with it, and that's the right to know laws. As a result, what we're asking for, and the only thing we're asking for, is that guidance material should provide an alternative methodology which would allow each state via the legal body that it needs and the law or any other type of legislation that it complies with the protection of information. As it stands now, we're only referring to right-to-know laws or these transparency laws. And in our working paper, we express the fact that there are legal problems with the application of this law. So a state using another law could achieve the same end. Have I made myself clear? Do you grasp where I'm going with my intervention? Thank you.
I understand that, but would that clarify for me, would that require an amendment to Annex 19?
No, Mr. Chairman. In Annex 19, it says that you have to use this by means of the right to know law, and so that's optional. Or rather, it's not. It's mandatory. It only refers to the right to know law. And since it was decided that it would be very difficult to amend Annex 19, what we're asking for is that at least in the report, states have the sovereign right to making use of whatever national law they want to achieve the same end. Thank you.
Understand that. We'll look to see if we can develop in the next moment or two, and perhaps if you could think of an amendment to the wording that we currently have, and we'll try and deal with it before we leave this page, something that would satisfy you in terms of the report back and capture the discussion that we had at the time. But we'll come back to that specific issue in a moment if we can, please. United Kingdom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to everyone. Sorry to just quickly take you back to paragraph 36.8. And the ECAC member states would really like to support the changes that were proposed by IATA because we feel it accurately reflects the discussion and the importance of industry and state collaboration when it comes to data sharing. Thank you.
Thank you, United Kingdom. We have captured that amendment. Peru, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm still going to speak to 36.5. When the working paper was drafted, we looked into the possibility in the states of the region, what possibilities we had in order to protect information with regard to exceptions to the right to know laws. We reached the conclusion that it would be very, very difficult to approve this law and to protect the information by linking it to such a fundamental law. And then we had a number of meetings with individuals and leaders, those who we've drafted these right-to-know laws, to ascertain what possibilities we could have to work under this law and this standard. And we were told, no, there is no wiggle room, so to speak. This is why the working paper did put forward the amendment, possible amendment to Annex 19, in the light of the impossibility of states to regulate, with exceptions, protection of information. And it would be impossible to protect information using our own national legislation, aeronautical legislation, safety legislation. So, in the light of this, it's very important to note that if we do not amend Annex 19, we have to have a legal instrument which will make us possible for us to protect information using other legislative tools. Thank you.
Understood, Peru. Dominican Republic, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry for taking the floor again. I'm happy with the complete 36.5, except with that last sentence. So in my proposal would be for, and I'm going to just try to provide you with my proposal. The Commission recommended that ICAO provide implementation support to states through the development of guidance material and regional workshops, included but not limited to right-to-know laws. And that's it.
Thank you, Dominican Republic, and I know the Secretariat's been working on an amendment as well, so we'll give that to you right after we hear from South Africa, please.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I just got a little bit confused. I thought we were still also discussing 36.8, and then now when the UK took the floor, you said the change has already been incorporated. So perhaps, because to me, I align with your earlier sentiments that the proposal is repeating what has already been stated above. And I don't think really it's adding any value to the paragraph as it stands, because we talk of collaboration that we're encouraging between the states and the industry. And then we're encouraging states to implement the recently adopted provisions which cover all the elements that are mentioned above. So I don't see any reason why should we really now come and repeat what is stated above. Otherwise, we become inconsistent on how we report on the working papers. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you, South Africa. I did make the observation at the time that it was a borderline call, and I think on reflection that the IATA request as supported by United Kingdom is reasonable, so I was agreeable to include it. It didn't change the meaning in any particular way, so we have recorded it as having been made, albeit it's not something we want to do on a consistent basis. I think the Secretariat have got away ahead with 36.5, which is simply to simplify the last sentence, and let's hear from the Secretariat and see what they're proposing.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Again, I guess the proposal made by Dominican Republic, it's acceptable by the Secretariat if the states are in agreement. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, and it would be the inclusion after the sentence would read, regional workshops, in particular with respect, in particular, regional workshops included but not limited with respect to the right to know laws, if I understood correct the proposal from Dominican Republic.
Thank you, Secretariat. Unless there's any other particular strong objection, certainly the intent is well understood by the Secretariat, so they'll be able to take the appropriate action in that regard. International organizations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to mention that on behalf of the European Union and the 44 European states, we support the proposal made by the Secretariat. We believe that it appropriately reflects the discussion and the position we expressed yesterday. Thank you.
Sorry, who was that speaking?
The European Union and the European states.
Thank you. Portugal. Sorry, was Portugal going to say something? Okay, obviously not. Peru, please, and then we'll move on to complete this page. Peru, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to suggest, in the light of the Secretariat proposal, that we include after the last sentence, semicolon, measures which, or other measures which be used to protect safety data. Measures which could also be used for the protection of safety data. Thank you.
Is that another? That's fine. Thank you. Providing other states are acceptable to that slight change. Okay, thank you very much. I presume we can move on now to page 3 in the English version. And we're talking paragraphs 3611 through 3616. Actually, just before we do that, Secretariat's reminded me that there was some discussion around 36.7, and there was Australia had proposed an amendment, and then there were at least a number of interventions suggesting that 36.7 should be left the way it is, that people were happy with it. Just purely on a numbers basis, I think what we'll do there is we will leave 36.7 the way it is expressed at the moment, and we won't make any amendment to it. If you disagree with that call, then certainly let me know during the discussion of the current page which we're at, which is 36.3, and paragraphs 3611 through 3616. Germany, please.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Président.
Good morning, everyone. For 36.7, and on behalf of the 44 members of ECAC, we would like to make a comment which better reflects the support of the Commission, and we'll start at the second sentence, end of the third line, and I'm going to do it in English for better understanding.
Noting the potential benefits and efficiency gains, the Commission acknowledged the growing existence of regional aviation systems and other frameworks from regional cooperation among states. Point. It recognized and supported the need to better integrate them in the ICAO context. Point. On the resolution, we would like to suggest to include a recital in order to support the introduction of the notion of regional aviation systems. It reads as follows: recognizing that groups of member states may decide to establish regional aviation systems, the legal basis of which may be an international treaty and would encompass common rules and oversight applicable in the participating states. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Your interpreter regrets this is paragraph 3616 rather than 36.7, as I mentioned earlier.
Thank you. And here we're, for the benefit of the Commission, we're referring to the resolution associated with paragraph 3616. And I'll just find it in hard copy in the web version so we can give you the reference. We'll just track down that exact wording and its location. The resolution we're talking about is 36-1, which is on in the English version of the hard copy on page 4. Germany, where would you be proposing, if you could explain where you were proposing to insert that whereas clause, any particular location?
No particular location, we just would like to include this recital.
So we would propose to insert that clause, and I'll just get you to confirm in a moment that it was a whereas clause. We'd propose to insert that after the statement acknowledging the resolution given in Annex 19 to RSOOs and their role in discharging delegated state safety management function on behalf of states. We would propose to insert that whereas clause as the first clause in that section. Is that, you'd be happy with that, and that's what you're proposing?
Yes, we will agree with the Secretary. Secretariat, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So for the benefit of the Commission, that's on page 5, and it's the clause I was talking about, acknowledging the recognition given in Annex 19, is about halfway down, and the new clause, the new whereas clause, would go in directly after that. Now, that is consistent with the Commission's deliberations on the day, and I definitely recall that, so it's just adding it to the resolution. Now, it might be useful for the Commission for Germany just to read that out again so that Commission members have another opportunity to hear it, so they're better able to recall themselves the deliberations on the day. So, Germany, if you could just read that clause again, please.
Recognizing that groups of member states may decide to establish regional aviation systems, the legal basis of which may be an international treaty and would encompass common rules and oversights applicable in the participating states.
Thank you, Germany. I'll just correct my comment before I notice that it's a recognising that clause as opposed to a whereas clause. Okay, South Africa, please.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I think it will be add value if we can read that slower so that we can capture it, because we don't have the wording to consider, and we don't have the similar capabilities of grasping things, Mr. Chair. So, because also they've made a lot of changes moving from one page to the next. So totally, as I'm here, I don't recall any of the changes that they've made, and then so you have to bear with us, Mr. Chair. So if there's no wording to consider, they have to do it slow so that we can capture that, and also so that we can not, so that we should also not be left behind, Mr. Chair.
Understand as well. I'm struggling to keep up myself. So the reason that we've jumped pages, as you describe, is in fact that this clause relates to the resolution that is derived from the discussion under paragraph 36.16, and if you note, the resolution follows that. So Germany's quite correct to raise this intervention now, and it's just that the clause that they're proposing to insert ends up, it's a long resolution, it ends up on a following page. The Secretary has captured the wording of the intervention, and I'll ask him to read that out now, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Recognizing that a group of member states may decide to establish a regional aviation system, comma, the legal basis of which could be an international treaty and would encompass common rules and oversight applicable in the participating states, semicolon.
Thank you, Secretary. The amendment is consistent with my recollection, as I say, so unless there's any objection from the floor, we'll make that change. Any other comment on page 3, paragraphs 3611 through 3616? Excellent. Okay, so we'll now move to page 4, and this is the completion of 3616 and then the resolution. So any comments on page 4 of the English version? Egypt, please.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, thank you, but I was pressing for 3611.
That's fine, go ahead.
I'm sorry. بالنسبة لهذا البند غالبا ما تكون التجارب
Thank you then, sir. With respect to 3611, our regional experiences are preliminary, and so we are trying to ensure regional implementation support for No Country Left Behind. We need to take advantage of this initiative in other areas, more serious areas, and initiatives that are supported beyond the confines of our region. As a result, we would propose that we add at the end of the paragraph the possibility of calling for regional assistance from our group or from other expert groups at the request of the state concerned and in coordination with the Bureau. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Egypt. I do note that in the following paragraph 3612, there is text around encouraging the sharing of best practice from PERGs and RASGs across the region. Also that ICAO should be requested to provide necessary guidance and tools. Okay, no, that's Gantt and so on. So what could you propose particular wording that you think is missing from 3611? Egypt, please, could you propose?
Yeah, I guess it's similar. It's just confirming what's in the next paragraph and adding that the country itself could ask for that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maybe I could suggest that at the end of 36.12, 3612, after Global Aviation Safety Plan, GASP, at the request of, as requested, or by member states or others, something to that effect. We could do it so that there's an opportunity for a request to be made at the end of that paragraph for the guidance and tools that are being offered.
Egypt?
Sure, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
That was consistent with the paper as well, I do recall, so that would be fine. South Africa, please.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. As I've indicated in my earlier intervention, because my recollection is that Germany made quite a number of changes on this page. So I don't know, because now we just moved to the resolution and discussed the one on the resolution. I don't know if the suggested changes, which I don't even recall, if they have been effected on the paragraphs. Because then if they are, then we'd like to be reminded on what those changes are. Thank you.
Germany, did you propose changes to the text of anything other than the resolution?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We just put it one word more. It's recognized and supported. Just the word support. And it was, I'll read it again. It's okay? The sentence?
We have it here, I think. Just give me one moment.
States recognized and supported the need.
Yes, we have it. So I'll get the Secretary to read that particular issue for the benefit of South Africa.
This is paragraph 36.16 on the, I think the beginning of page 4. And the third line states recognize and supported the, so it says framework for regional cooperation among states and recognized and supported the need to better integrate them. So the word supported is included. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. Okay, anything else on page 4? Okay, page 5. This continues on the resolution. Page 6. Okay, that completes the resolution, I think, and we start on page 7 of the English version with paragraph 3617, and it ends on 36.21. So any comments on page 7 in the English version? Okay, if we move to page 8 and begins with paragraph 36.22 and ends with 36.27. France, please.
Merci, monsieur.
Thank you, sir, and good morning, everyone. Paragraph 36.23. It seems to me that we should be a bit more clear about the fact that the aerodromes already include a chapter on aerodromes and have already been published. Those PANs are published, so I think we should insert one more sentence here.
The Commission acknowledged. I would propose to insert a sentence which would be: the Commission noted the recent publication of the PAN's aerodrome in relation to that matter. Dot. Should I read it?
You could do once more, please.
Okay, so just after relevant guidance material, after the dot, we would insert a sentence which is: the Commission noted the recent publication of the PAN's aerodrome in relation to that matter, and dot. Just to make sure that states are aware that there is ICAO material answering the matter. Thank you.
That sounds fine to me, unless there's any comment from the floor. Canada, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Canada would like to add some text to paragraph 36.27 to briefly describe the content of the working paper, which would add clarity to the paragraph. Specifically, in the first sentence, after the words Canada and the United States, to add the following text: that outlined their approach to defining the specific technological, or procedural implementations are associated with each ASBU module in order to identify which would contribute to the aviation improvements required for their operational environments, full stop. The remainder of that sentence would be combined with the next sentence. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The text can be sent in if required.
I think the Secretariat already has your proposal here, and for the benefit of the Commission, that the amendment is simply providing a brief description on the content of the paper, a very brief description, so I don't see any difficulty with adopting that wording at all. If people would like the words read out again, then we can do so. I'd prefer not, simply to keep the proceedings moving quickly, because we are starting to struggle for time a little bit, but it's not a, with apologies to Canada, it's not a particularly significant amendment, except that it does provide some explanation. It doesn't affect actions or recommendations from the Commission. Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else on page 8? Okay, we'll move on then, please, to page 9, which is with paragraphs 3628 through to 3633. Any comment? Canada, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In terms of paragraph 3628, in our view, the text as written gives the impression that the proposal was not supported and that there is conflict between implementation reporting and performance-based planning. The proposal was supported, and Canada believes that a coherent understanding of the implementation progress is an important element of performance-based planning and implementation. Therefore, we propose to add an additional sentence to paragraph 36.28, a new sentence before the last sentence of the paragraph. The sentence would read, "The Commission agreed on the importance of a coherent reporting structure to track the progress of groups of states in implementing agreed programs to support their performance requirements, comma, but requested that any global implementation reporting regime take account of existing reporting arrangements, period."
We're still just having a close look at it. Wait one. Now, it may be useful, I might get the Secretary to read that complete amendment to 3812, actually, just for clarity, so that everybody understands it. I don't really want to skip over it because it does affect the resolution of the Commission from the time. So hang on, we'll find the text and give it to the Secretary to read.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is in paragraph 36.28, and the change affects the sentence in the middle of the paragraph. There are a couple of changes. Where it says the Commission reinforced, there is a change. So the new paragraph reads, the Secretariat emphasized the importance of a performance-based approach and the need for a globally applicable performance-based decision-making method to assist states in defining strategies for a cost-effective implementation of air navigation improvements. The next sentence is mostly an insertion. The Commission agreed on the importance of a coherent reporting structure to track the progress of groups of states in implementing agreed programs to support their performance requirements, but requested that any global implementation reporting regime take account of existing reporting arrangements, period. The last sentence remains the same.
Russian Federation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a number of proposals to make. On 3631, with regard to the working paper 452 presented by us, we would like to see reflected in this report that this paper addressed the issues of international regulatory control of the use of elements of multi-constellation GNSS. So it's not only the associated issues associated with the use of multiple. We would like to make sure that this report reflects international regulatory control of the use of elements of multi-constellation GNSS. Furthermore, we were told by the Secretariat that this process, in principle, is already on the agenda of the panel specific to it in ICAO. So we don't want to see it subject to availability of extra budgetary resources. So in the last sentence after the words priorities, that we stop the paragraph there and delete funded, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, Russian Federation. I'll just confer with the Secretariat on that particular issue.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think what I can do then in the third line, change the line to read associated with the international regulatory control of the use of multiple GNSS constellations. Period. The Commission agreed to recommend that the matter be referred to Council for further consideration, period. And we'll delete the rest of the paragraph. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. So unless there's any objection, those changes will be made. They accurately reflect the content of the discussion at the time, the content of the paper and the resolution of the Commission. Okay, just if we can clear up with regards to 3628. From my perspective, the amendments proposed to 3628, yes, are appropriate, accurately reflect the what was considered and agreed by the Commission. So we'll adopt those as well unless there are any particular opposition from the floor. Anything else on page 9? Okay, we'll move on then to page 10. And here we're dealing with, in the English version, it has 36.34 at the top, paragraph number, and 36.39 at the bottom. Any comment on page 10? International organisations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On behalf of ICCIA and paragraph 37, and at the end of this paragraph, I would suggest two changes, two amendments, very slight, but to be more accurate. Would read, the Commission strongly agreed to recommend that ICAO Council lead, so I had Council, and seek to attain a comprehensive cybersecurity, cyber safety, and cyber resilience work plan and steering structure instead of government structure. Steering structure. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, ICC, AIA. I would have thought governance steering are relatively interchangeable, but I have no particular opposition to the change. It's without dismissing your intervention, it's relatively semantic from my perspective. So I'll be happy to adopt those two changes, unless there's any opposition from the floor. Okay, anything else on page 10? And remarkably, that is the end of the report for agenda item 36. So we'll move on now to working paper 478, which is the draft text for the report on agenda item 37. And we'll first of all refer to page 1. And page 1 in the English version has paragraphs 37.1 through 37.3. Any comments on page 1? Obviously well done by the Secretariat in capturing the deliberations of the Council on that issue. Very well done. Let's see if they've been consistently good with the rest of the paper. We'll move now to 37-2, the page number beginning at the top with paragraph 37.4 down to 37.8. Any comments? They did do well, didn't they? Okay, we'll move on to page 3 then. Once again in the English version, 37.9 at the top and 37.13 at the bottom. Any comment? France, please.
Merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm really sorry to deceive you, but on 3710, it seems to me that this paragraph correctly reflects the recommendations of global concern, but it does not necessarily reflect discussions on the safety recommendations. So I'd like to add a sentence at the end of this paragraph, quite simply. I'm going to read it out in English.
The Commission agreed that the elements related processing and monitoring of safety recommendations be referred to the relevant panel or expert groups. I leave it to the Secretariat for consideration. I read it back? Okay. The Commission agreed that the elements related processing and monitoring of safety recommendations be referred to the relevant expert groups or group for consideration. My purpose is that we have really a conclusion for the global safety, the safety recommendation of global concern and the normal and usual safety recommendations. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, so for the intervention from France, I just want to confirm process. So the intent of the insertion is to provide the information to the expert group, not to pause process waiting for the expert group. Is that correct?
This is correct, Mr. Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you. Then, Mr. Chairman, I believe that the Secretariat could take this recommendation on board. Thank you.
Any objection to the proposed amendment from France? Egypt, please.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to talk about 37.8. No objection.
No, that's fine. Go ahead and raise the point on the particular paragraph you refer to.
It's regarding to the 37.9, sorry, for the United States paper. إذا أمكن الإضافة بنهاية الباراجراف.
Could we add at the end of the paragraph? Taking into account the legislation of states with regard to the length of certification of aerodromes. So the sentence would then read or would indicate to what extent regional plans are in a position to provide this type of information, wide scope information, while taking into account national legislation regarding aerodrome certification. Thank you.
Thank you, Egypt. We'll just try and integrate that into the text. Egypt, if we can just clarify that the point you're making is that in a number of states there is terminating certification, so which needs to be renewed on a regular basis. So your intent is for the certification status of airdromes that might be indicated in the Regional Air Navigation Plan, perhaps, reflects a termination date for the certification, or have we got that point?
المقصود مراعاة أن عدم وجود اسم مطار في بيانات الترخيص.
The fact that the name of the aerodrome does not appear on the certificate doesn't mean that the aerodrome doesn't have a certificate. Most certainly, the validity period of the certificate is limited.
Mr. Chairman, I think perhaps we had a little insertion question about where this went. My understanding is this goes in the end of the first sentence of the paragraph. So in 37.9, the Commission reviewed Working Paper 241, and then on the beginning of the third line it reads, of individual airdromes, comma, taking into account national legislation regarding airdrome certification, period. Would that be an appropriate place to put this? Egypt?
تمام. It's okay. It's perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Egypt. I do recall you raising that issue at the time of the discussion, so I'd be entirely happy with that addition of a few words in the location indicated by the Secretary. Are there any other comments on page 3? Okay, if that's the case, then we will record as amended working papers 478 and 477 as reflecting the Commission's deliberations and conclusions flowing from agenda items 37 and 36. Now, if you recall, at the beginning of the meeting, I made the offer for any states who considered that the numbering confusion between versions of the report back on agenda item 33, an opportunity to go over and clarify any issues they may have or any concerns they may have about our deliberations on the day. So you'll recall that on the report back there was a numbering discrepancy from page 3 on. So page 3 on from para 3316, there was a discrepancy between the web-based version and the hard copy that a number of us were working from. So if that numbering discrepancy and the consequent deliberations were of any concern to any state or caused any confusion or misunderstanding, I'd like to provide the opportunity now for us to go back over those particular items and hear any concern about any particular issue. So I open the floor to any state who might wish to express any concern about that issue. Okay, so I take it then that all states involved in the Technical Commission are satisfied with the conclusion we had at the end of that agenda item, that the discussions in the report back accurately reflected the deliberations of the Commission. Any objection to that? Okay, done. Let me just check with the Secretariat to see if there's anything else before we break up. Ladies and gentlemen, in just one moment I'll close this hearing of the Technical Commission, but before I do so, I'd like to thank you for your cooperation, your tolerance with my somewhat unusual rules of procedure at certain times in order to make progress through the agenda. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your cooperation, your friendship, and your collaboration. We have got through a lot of work in the last week or so, and we couldn't have done it without your cooperation, so thank you for that. I'd also like to express my appreciation for the sterling work of the interpreters. They're vital to the function of the organisation, and without them we would be in dire straits. I'd also like to express my appreciation to the Secretary of the Commission and also the Secretariat generally. It has been an eye-opener for me to see the tremendous amount of work that the Secretariat puts into the preparation and the conduct of the Technical Commission, and they do sterling work on our behalf. So I'd appreciate it if you could just show your appreciation for their efforts. So thank you very much. Now, I do have a couple of, I know the Secretary wants to say a couple of short words, and I do have a couple of states on the board for comments, so I'll briefly take those comments before we conclude, so the meeting's still in session at the moment. Venezuela.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to take this opportunity to, on behalf of our delegation, to congratulate you on your chairmanship of this commission. We also would like to thank the Secretariat for all the efforts they have expended, all the staff members. We also would like to congratulate all those who have taken part here, the delegations, the international organizations. All their comments have been most enlightening and have greatly facilitated our cooperation and friendship. And we believe the results of this meeting will be crowned with success. We hope that the plenary, etc., will greatly enhance the operations of international civil aviation. We also look to the developments of GASP and GANT, which will progress further, and we will look also to all the efforts made to combat climate change. So once again, thank you all.
Thank you, Venezuela. South Africa.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I felt I'm duty-bound to take the floor again to express my appreciation to you as the chair, to the way you conducted this meeting. Because anyway, you thanked everybody, but you could not thank yourself, so we have to do it on your behalf. So not to downplay the efforts played by others, I don't want to waste time and repeat those, but it's just to say we managed to do the work through collaboration, and most importantly, through you captaining this flight. appropriately. So thank you for that, Mr. Chair. I think this will take it, this enthusiasm we had in consideration of the work will translate it to the implementation of the resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you, South Africa. France.
Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we say in French, we'd like to follow what was said in Spanish and English and the other languages. We also in French would like to thank you for the excellent conduct of this discussions, for having maintained a peaceful atmosphere in the room and arrived at consensus. We also would like to thank the Secretariat for their support. I am aware of all they do on a daily basis, and I greatly appreciate their efforts. I also would like to applaud the participation of the other experts in this room. We have worked in a climate of consensus. There has been a lot of energy, and this will be most useful and helpful to the implementation of all our joint decisions. There's still a great deal to be done, and the hardest is ahead of us because we have to now translate this into reality. Thank you.
Thank you, France. Egypt, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. المجموعة الفنية المصرية كلها
The technical team of Egypt would like to thank you and the Secretariat for having conducted this commission in such a technical manner. You were most understanding throughout the discussions, and you welcomed our interventions. Thank you.
Thank you, Egypt. Angola, please.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of 44 European states and our organizations, I'd like to express our appreciation for the work you have done as well, Secretary and Secretariat. I can see the difficulties when finding the conclusion and trying to satisfy most of the members. It's rather difficult and challenging. You did it in an excellent way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. That wasn't Angola, by the way. I should express also my appreciation to the Vice Chair for his support in standing in for me on, I think, the second day, and also thank him in advance because he'll be doing the report back to the Assembly, I think, on the final day due to my absence, but he has dutifully and conscientiously sat through every session and had the chair for a while, so he will be able to accurately represent your views to the Assembly. Thank you. And also I should also thank the second Vice Chair as well. I don't know whether she's in the room at the moment, but she held herself in readiness, but fortunately for her it wasn't required to sit in the chair, but did attend all of the briefings and contributed significantly, so thank you as well. Saudi Arabia, please.
شكرا سيادة الرئيس. تشكر المملكة العربية.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Saudi Arabia, I would like to thank the Chair and the Secretariat. We also would like to express our thanks to all the delegates for all their efforts. And of course, we cannot forget the anonymous soldiers in the back, the teams of interpreters, and all the other anonymous people behind the scenes. Thank you.
Thank you, Saudi Arabia. China.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to thank you for your diligent work and the work of the Secretariat to make this assembly successful, as said by Saudi Arabia. I would also like to thank the colleagues in language service. Their work has been instrumental to the success of our meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, China. Zambia, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is AFCAC speaking on behalf of the AFCAC states, the 50 states in AFCAC, 54 states in fact, and I would like to congratulate you and thank you most sincerely on behalf of the AFCAC states. Thank you for the manner in which you have conducted the deliberations of the Technical Commission. And thanks to you, we were able to arrive at concrete results which will have a significant impact on the future of international civil aviation. So many thanks and congratulations to you for this major achievement in the Technical Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Zambia. And Brazil, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you have received all the gratitude in all language, ICAO language, I would like to add the Portuguese. Muito obrigado.
And thank you very much. That's very much appreciated. Okay, now just before I close the session, the Secretary would like to make a comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So first, the Secretariat would like to appreciate that the Assembly is a meeting of the states. You have provided your direction to the organization and your recommendations, and within the Secretariat, we will do everything in our power to execute your wishes and your instructions. I do want to remind, however, that we continue to break the rules of assembly by proposing new work, in some cases, that is not properly budgeted in the deliberations of the Council when they drafted the budget for the coming triennium. We did better than last time, but we're still not there. So the next challenge is for you. You don't have 3 years to update the next cycle of proposals. You have 2, because we expect that you will provide us your guidance at the Air Navigation Conference or divisional meeting, which will be held in the fall of 2018, because that's where we want substantive deliberations on your proposals regarding safety and air navigation, so that we can incorporate them into the budget for the following triennium that the Council will present to the 40th Assembly. And I believe it might be possible for even the Executive Committee to adopt the updates to the Global Aviation Safety Plan and Air Navigation Plan with those budgets, because you will have conducted and completed your technical deliberations the year before. So I ask you to think about that as a way to help the organization streamline and be more efficient, because as you have noted over the last 10 days, the Assembly is a very expensive and challenging undertaking for the organization when we conduct 6 commissions and a plenary all at once. Having said that, we are very pleased with the input that was received, and especially under the able chairmanship of Mr. Harris, and we'd like, as Secretariat, to ask you to join us in a round of applause for his chairmanship. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this technical commission of the 39th Assembly is now concluded. Thank you very much.